welcome along to the Property Academy podcast by Overs Partners. I'm your host, Ed McKnight.
I'm Andrew Nicol.
And today on the show, we're talking about, have property prices bottomed out? Are we in the end game for house price falls? Now, some new data recently came out from the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand. And so, of course, we've got to have
Data day.
a data day. And one of the things that were most interesting from that data was that the rate at which house prices are falling has slowed. I want to show you this graph for you guys who are on YouTube, but let me explain it for everybody in the audio version as well. If we go back to March this year, 2022, what happened to house prices? Bam, down 2%. April, bam, down 2%. May, bam, down 1.6%. June, 2%.
And then? Bam?
Yeah, it was bam. It was a big bam. Then what happened? July. Bam. 1.3%. August. Bam. 1.2%. July, and then September. Down 0.7%. So yes, we are still seeing house prices falling, but you can see pretty consistently from June through to September, each month they've been falling at a slower and slower rate. Now, if you are looking for a sign that we are nearing the bottom of the trough, this is it. Because what could happen in October, bear in mind that we're already over halfway through October, we could well see again a even slower or smaller fall in house prices, suggesting that we are going to see the bottom of the market very close. Now, let me be very, very clear as well. The house prices under this data still falling, but at a much slower rate. And that's the key thing that we're looking for when we're thinking about the trough coming. Now, we actually see this in real estate agent data as well. So I want to show you or talk about some of the data coming out of Tony Alexander's real estate agent survey. Remember, this is where he talks to real estate agents and says, how are you finding the market at the moment? Well, we see the exact same trend. Let me talk you through this one. He asks, how do you feel prices are generally changing at the moment? Well, what did we see in June this year? We saw over 72%, a net 72% of real estate agents saying house prices, not good, they're falling. And then since then, July, August, September. Now we're in September, net 39% say they're falling. So yeah, there's still negativity out there at the coalface with what real estate agents are seeing, but there has been a change by about 30 percentage points, 33 percentage points. More agents are saying they're actually going up, or more agents are saying that they have stabilized. And that is the key trend we're looking at. So not saying that things are rosy, prices aren't going up, but there are some pretty clear signs because we're seeing it month after month. The results are getting better. And that is why I'm pretty confident that we're now in what we call the trough territory, where we are within cooey of the bottom of the market. Now, Andrew, one of the key questions, though, is what is driving this bottoming out of the market?
Okay, so let's talk about first home buyers first. They are coming back. So a net 27% of agents are saying that first home buyers are back in the market. Now, again, I'll walk you through the graph that YouTubers can see on screen. So back, if we look to last year, you'd have the vast majority of agents saying that there are a lot of first home buyers in the market. Since November last year, right through to July this year, more agents are saying that there are no first home buyers in the market than are prevalent in the market. But now we're seeing a change. We're starting to see more agents say that they're seeing first home buyers actually active in the market. Now, similar sort of stats around investors, we're seeing less negativity from investors. So in February, they had a net 68% of agents said that there were fewer investors. Now, it's a net 28%. So it's still negative. So they're still seeing fewer investors in the market, but it's improving. So we're seeing that trend towards there being more people and more agents saying there are more investors in the market.
And bear in mind, Andrew, as well, that real estate agents really started to say, the investors are retreating. There's not as many investors. In March 2021, when the government first made those big tax changes. But even still, even though there weren't as many investors in the market, property prices didn't peak until some 10 months later. So you can still have an environment where house prices are increasing, even though you have agents saying, you know what, there's not as many investors as there once were.
And so I guess the question is, what's motivating investors? Well, I think there's now that sense for an investor, particularly the ones that have been around for a while, that there is more hope of finding a bargain. So if you've got fewer investors out there in the market to compete against, maybe now I can go in and get a really good deal on something. And this is what's causing investor negativity to fall. And so more agents are clearly saying, well, we're seeing more investors coming back into the market. And it's interesting because, we've got rising interest rates. There's nothing changed with the interest deductibility rules yet. So it is really positive to see some of those, I guess, experienced and seasoned investors starting to find the hope in finding a bargain.
One of the other interesting things that really stood out to me from this real estate agent survey, and look, I've always said that I take this particular survey with a bit of a grain of salt. And the reason is I'm not convinced that real estate agents always have their finger on the pulse of exactly what buyers really care about. I think they're just as influenced by the media as the rest of us. And so, when I sometimes see results, I think, is this going to be a one-off? Do I really believe this? But having said that, what is useful about this specific survey is it's more of a leading indicator. So if real estate agents are seeing stuff today, let's say a big slowdown in prices or prices picking up, that won't be reflected in the official sales stats for perhaps another 2 months. So if I do see a consistent trend picking up in what real estate agents are saying, I start to feel more confident in the trend. So this is more of a good leading indicator of what might happen in 2 months. Now, one thing that I'm interested in is look at this grey line here, Andrew. Since about May this year, fewer buyers, according to real estate agents, are concerned that prices might fall after they buy. So even though, hey, look, still 60% of agents say, hey, yeah, this is one of the concerns from buyers, you can see it is becoming less of an issue. So about 10 percentage point drop from that peak in about April, May earlier this year. That is one of the reasons why I believe we're starting to see first home buyers come back in, because they're thinking, you know what? Maybe most of the decline in house prices has already happened. And interesting here, we're seeing a small uptick in the number of agents saying, you know what, insufficient listings is one of those big concerns of buyers. So again, if you're looking for signs that we might be starting to hit the bottom of the market, that we're in that trough territory, these are the signs that I would expect to see. So I think we're definitely heading into that. Now, one of the insulating factors that I think are going to make house prices stay relatively where they are now, maybe a small drop, is that people are feeling pretty okay about their house price. There's not widespread panic in the market, even though in some areas like Wellington and Auckland, we have seen house prices come back up to 17%. And the reason is, if you compare today's prices, September 2022 to September 2021, over the last 12 months, house prices have come down 12.5%. And that would usually be pretty scary. But if you look at what happened the year prior, September 2020 to 2021, house prices increased 27%.
So you're still up by
You're
15%.
you're still up pretty considerably. And that is insulating the market, because we can remember what that was like. We saw a massive increase. They've come back a bit. But most of us, if we've owned property for a while, we're not needing to panic sell, because it's not like our mortgages massively increased as well at the same time, unless we took out more borrowing. Now, the big question, Andrew, is when are house prices going to bottom out? Now, here's what I think. The data that we are looking at is always about 2 months out of date. And it's because the RINES data that I've been quoting in this episode and most previous episodes, that is based on unconditional sales. Once a contract goes unconditional. Well, if you've got a finance clause, if you've got a due diligence clause, there could be 3 weeks difference between when a property price is negotiated and the contract signed compared to when it goes unconditional. And so my point there is that by the time if the official data reflects, oh yes, we're definitely in the trough, it's going to be about 2 to 3 months after that's already happened. Now, I am picking that we're going to see official data, the Ryan's data, reflect a bottoming out of the market in March 2023. Bear in mind, the Reserve Bank says September 2023. Us and Tony, we think probably 6 months earlier because of the pace of the declines that we're seeing. So I'm expecting December, January, that's where we're really going to start to see the bottom of the market in terms of people out there negotiating. But certainly right now, I think we're in trough territory. Now, my question for you, Andrew, is you're out there negotiating properties all day, every day. Is now the time to buy?
Look, I think that if you're buying for the long term, it's always the right time to buy. There's no point just hanging your hat on one particular factor in the market, like a decreasing price, because you're always combating one thing. Right now, we've got high interest rates; it's hard to get loans, but you've also got the ability to get a deal. Last year, you had low interest rates, easier finance, but you didn't get the same deals as you get today. So, I think it's really important if you're a long-term investor not to get too distracted by the here and the now, because it's how long you stay in the market that really matters at actually doing something. So many investors that I talk to, they have this mentality, I'm going to wait for the bottom of the market. Well, you might end up missing the bottom of the market and or not doing anything because there's something else that concerns you next time. I think the most successful investors are the ones that actually just take the opportunity in any market and just repeat the process.
Yep, so is it the bottom of the market today? No, it's not, but we're very, very close. And even if we get to the bottom, because the rate of price decreases are going down, it's going to be pretty insignificant. If we get another 0.5% down, is that going to be life-changing? Not over the long term.
And if you manage to get a discount now of 5%, then that's even better, particularly if you just get that small amount next year and then the market corrects and all of a sudden developers are saying, well, we're not doing deals now.
Yeah, so it is the bottom of the market, but we are in the end game of house price falls, and we certainly are in the trough territory. Right, let's wrap it up there, but please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Property Academy podcast. Really does help us get the message out to more people. And hey, if you want to read our book, which I spent the last 2 years writing, then head to wealthplanbook.com to pre-order, or you can go down into your show notes or the description for you guys on YouTube and check out that link in there, because we are going on tour. We're coming to Auckland, Christchurch, Queenstown, Wellington, and Havelock North, and it'd be great to see you there. Tickets are $30. Links down in the show notes in the description if you want a ticket to that. Thanks for listening to the Property Academy podcast. I'm your host, Cedric Knight. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with even more daily strategies, tactics, and insights to help you get the most. Until next time.